Well, welcome back to the channel. Today's short video, we're going to be doing a pumpkin pie. My crust that I use lard to make my crust because I think it comes out better, more tasty. And then my own pumpkin mix that I make from scratch. I've taken the pumpkins from Halloween and I rendered them down. So I know it's a little bit more work, but I just love the taste. So it'll be a short video, just a quick video on making a pumpkin pie. Hope you enjoy. So what I have is, because I'm just doing one crust, I've got a cup and a half of all-purpose flour. I'm going to do roughly 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I have half a cup of lard I'm putting in there. Now normally I would use a pastry knife just to cut everything in and do it that way, but for ease today, because I'm on a time crunch, I'm using the mixer. Yeah, I'm going to get that going. And I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of water. That's 3 simple ingredients. 4 actually. Most of the way, and then I'll do the rest by hand. This is the consistency I want, just enough to make it into a ball. And I'm going to roll it out on a piece of parchment paper. I could flour the surface of my countertop and do it there, but just to save from some of the mess and clean up later. Doing a 9-inch pie crust. I find that putting the parchment right over the edge and holding it with my hip helps keep it from moving if I lean on it right. Using the lard with the water the way we did, I find that it makes a really flaky crust. I don't like chewy crusts. And I like the freshness of the pumpkin when I do it, render it down into a puree. I just like it. I think the flavor is so much better than the stuff you buy in the store that's already pre-seasoned. This way I can add the seasoning as I want and go from there. crust. What I'm going to do is tip it up, put it in a lightly floured pie pan. You really don't have to flour it, but I always do. Again, it's your choice whether you use the parchment. I mean, if I didn't use the parchment, what I would have done would be rolled the crust up and set it on the side and rolled it out over it. But this parchment allows me to get it centered and put it in there. Now, by no means am I a chef, and by no means anything. This is all stuff that I just do on the trial and error, and I like how they turn out. If you're not one for or never have baked before, just try it. You have some time at home on your day off, or you're retired like I am, just pick an idea and try it. I mean, that's no harm, no foul. It's better to try something and maybe you'll like it, but even if you don't succeed at making something that's edible, then you'll learn something and you can try next time to do something a little bit different. Now this is going to go in the oven at 425. A lot of times when people make pumpkin pie, they just put the juice or the pumpkin mix in a raw crust, and I really don't like that because I like a crispy crust. So I pre-cook my crust at least most of the way, if not all the way through. By no means do I do a fancy crust. It's all about edibleness, being able to eat the thing and enjoying it, and my family enjoying it. So there's a beautiful, I think, a beautiful looking crust. And because we're putting it in the oven for about 10 minutes or so, I don't have enough of the baking stones to hold the crust down, so I'm going to prick it a little bit. And I know you're thinking, well, the pumpkin puree is just going to leak out the bottom. There may be a little bit of seepage, but it's not that much, so not bad for a quick crust. It's real quick. So normally when cooking a pie crust, you do it for 15 minutes. But remember I said I want to do just a light cook through it. I'll do it for 9 minutes and then check it, because it's going to have to cook with the pumpkin in there. My pumpkin puree. So once I render it down and drain all the liquid out of it, I measure out 2 cups, which is what you need for one pie. I put it in a gallon Ziploc bag, make it flat, and freeze it in my freezer that way. I have several of these, and each one is one pie. That with a can of condensed milk and some spices will have us a good, delicious pie. partially cooked pie crust. I just find it makes the crust a lot more flaky when you partially cook it. Between the lard and this, the pie crust will be good. Now it's on to mixing up the pumpkin stuff we're going to put in it, and then finish our baking. And there's my pumpkin puree that I made. Ooh, condensed milk. It's thick. Might have to put in another hole. But we're also going to use 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. It's just your standard pumpkin pie recipe. I'm going to put another hole in this thing. In the meantime, half a teaspoon of cinnamon,
You just have Christmas music playing in the background. I'll try to come.
1/4 teaspoon of ginger, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Two eggs. It would really be good if I had farm fresh eggs, but unfortunately I don't have chickens anymore. Soon though, hopefully, we'll be getting some more. And then I'm going to get this condensed milk put in there. Okay, we're going to give it a good mixing. I think using fresh pumpkin like this makes the best pumpkin pie. They're never quite the same. Each one of them is a little bit different. It just depends on how much moisture I get out of the pumpkin mix. And I don't necessarily use just plain canning pumpkins. This was a pumpkin that was probably 30 pounds that we got for Halloween, or the little one got for Halloween. And she just painted on the outside with a Sharpie, and it cut it open. So I was able to, after Halloween, chop it all up and put it in the Instapot, or a pressure canner I should say, and put it on a pressure to get it to render down quicker than having to boil it for a long time. But I'll get this all mixed up, all that brown sugar mixed in and everything, and then we'll get it in the pie pan and then we'll start baking it. So let me finish mixing this thing up. Mixed up puree. Let's put it in this shell. Oh, it might go over a little bit right there, but that's okay. It's fine. Now I always put these on a cookie sheet before I put them in the oven. There it goes. Turn it down to 375 for 1 hour. We'll check it at about 50 minutes, but it's going to be 1 hour roughly. And that's it. We'll see how it turns out. So it's been an hour. As you can see, I put some bacon potatoes in there. I figure if you're going to use the oven, you might as well use the oven. Pie has about 5 minutes left. Then it'll be done. Look at that. Now that is a pumpkin pie. We will let it cool down and we will try it later tonight. Alright, it's time to cut into the pumpkin pie that I made. So let's see, it's nice and firmed up. Crust is nice and crispy. Let's see how it lifts out. Look at that. Perfect pumpkin pie.
Oh, yummy.
We will taste it here in a moment. So let's give a quick taste here. Perfect. I wish you could taste it. So hopefully this was informational to y'all. Next time, see what else we can do. God bless. Hugs. See you on the next video.